pulled out, and they called them ما تفرد به ابن ماجه, the hadith that Ibn Majah narrated in his Sunan that are sahih, that he's the only collection, and this is one of them. Narrated to us by Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As with a authentic chain narration within the series or the theme of the significance of Masajid, which I'll cover this week and maybe a little bit of next week. And once we start with August, I'll go into the theme of outreach, which is what August is. Our month of outreach is August, so we want to encourage everyone to do that, inshallah ta'ala, throughout the month. This is what Abdullah ibn Amr said. قال صلينا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم المغرب فرجع من رجع وعقب من عقب. And the first time I heard this hadith, just it's a note that has nothing to do with the actual point here, but I thought it was hopefully beneficial to share with you. The first time I heard this hadith from my teacher, he could not get over this piece. He stopped at that piece, and he just spent the whole time talking about that piece. What piece? صلينا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المغرب. For him, that statement was a statement of such blessing, of such beauty, that he just couldn't get over it. That think of this, you're someone who can go ahead and say that you are someone who lived a life where you can say, I prayed with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam something, and we were there with him for that salah, and he just would take that one. He didn't finish the hadith. I learned this hadith because I'm like, well, what was the hadith that you're going to say? And I went and looked it up to figure out what the hadith was, because he couldn't finish it. He just was focused on that صلينا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المغرب, that we prayed with him Maghrib, and we had the blessing of that. The beauty of that, the fact that he could make that statement, radiallahu anhu, that he prayed one day with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, any prayer of any sort, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I just thought that was something, I found it interesting when I heard it, and I thought I would share it with you. قال فرجع من رجع. The people who finished Maghrib, some of them went. وعقب من عقب. And some of them stayed around. قال فعاد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مسرعا قد حفزه النفس وقد حسر عن ركبتيه. The Prophet ﷺ stepped into his house. Then he came out, and he was in a hurry. حفزه النفس, meaning he's out of breath. He was running. He ran. حسر عن ركبتيه, he was holding his galabiya or his qamis or whatever, or his ridat, whatever he was wearing. He was pulling it up to where his knees were, so he could take long struts, so he could actually get there quicker. Meaning he was in a hurry to tell people something. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم أبشروا, good news for you. إن ربكم قد فتح بابا من أبواب السماء يباهي بكم الملائكة يقول عبادي قد قضوا فريضة وهم ينتظرون أخرى. He said that Allah, أبشروا, meaning good news for you. Your Lord has opened one of the doors of the heavens, and He is showing you off to His malaika, saying, look at my servants. They have performed the Farida, and they're sitting around waiting for the next Farida in my worship. This is what the Prophet ﷺ came to run to the people who stayed, like who didn't have anything else better to do, and decided instead of, they sit in the masjid and do dhikr and do qira'at Quran and maybe get to طمنوا على بعض, they ask how other people are doing and waiting for Salat al-Isha to come afterwards and pray. And the Prophet ﷺ came running to tell them, by the way, your Lord right now, he showed you off to the malaika. See, look, they're sitting there. Now, mind you, they were the only people on the planet doing it at that time. Just as a point of reference that may be of interest to you. At that moment, they were the only group of human beings on the planet. The Prophet ﷺ, there was the only masjid that was built at that point. This is an early Madani hadith. And there was no other masjid. And whoever prayed Maghrib with the Prophet ﷺ, this was the only masjid that was, maybe Qiba is another one. But this was the group was it was a very elite group of people. A very elite group of people who were doing this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala won't do the same for you. When you sit around a little bit longer, where you could go home could go and just waste an hour doing something else. But you decide, I'll sit in the masjid, I'll read the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'll learn something, I'll give salams to some people who I haven't given in a long time, and I'll wait for the Isha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows His malaika. Yubahi bikum. He shows you off to His malaika. See, look at my servants. This is how dedicated they are. This is how devoted they are. They are willing to sit and just wait for the next faridah. They prayed one and they're waiting for the other. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us amongst those who love the masjid that way, who enjoy the masjid that way, that feel that the masjid is a place is that cornerstone for them in their lives. It's the place where they always return to. It's the place where they want to go when you have nothing to do. Where do you go? Yeah? When you're not busy, where do you recline? Yeah? When life is, where do you go? Is it the masjid? Is that the place? When you're not busy, you come, I have nothing else to do, I'm going to sit and wait for Salat al-Isha. When you have work and people are sick, or you have to go and you have to finish assignments, or you have to write, whatever it is you have to do, you do that. No one. But when you don't, where do you spend your time? Yeah? Where do you find your time best spent? Where do you enjoy spending it? Is it the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala waiting for the next farida and the next act of worship where you can be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If you do, well, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam comes running to you. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He comes running to you with his smile on his face, holding up his galabiyah so he can get to you as quickly as possible, to use his word, Abshiruu, good news to you. I have good news for you. Your Lord sees this of worth, of value. He loves to see you in this position. He's showing you off to his other creations who because a lot of the Malaika I would be skeptical if I was one of the Malaika. I'm not, but if I were, I would be skeptical that, I don't know, they don't seem to be behaving that well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, nope, look at them. Like they could have gone somewhere else, but they chose to stay in my house and to worship and to read the Quran and be close. It has value to it, something beautiful, something that inshallah can grow and turn into. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to be amongst those people. يروي الإمام ابن ماجه في سننه بسند صحيح عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنهما قال: صلينا المغرب مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، فرجع من رجع وعقب من عقب، فخرج إلينا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم مسرعا قد حفزه النفس وقد حسر عن ركبتيه يقول: أبشروا فإن ربكم قد فتح بابا من أبواب السماء يباهي بكم ملائكته يقول: انظروا عبادي قد قضوا فريضة وهم ينتظرون أخرى. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خير. بارك الله فيكم. Inshallah, we'll have Jum'ah tomorrow at 3:15 sharp. See you then.